I'm Courtney Wagner, and this is In the Game. I'm here with Dr. James Perry, orthopedic surgeon of the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I know, let's talk about a little weather change here. You've lived in Pennsylvania, you've lived in Colorado.
That's right.
Welcome to Florida. How do you like it?
Well, this is my first winter in Florida, and growing up in Pennsylvania and spending 3 years in Colorado, I know winter very well.
Yes.
This is much different. This is nice. You know, the sunshine, the warm weather, the outdoor activities that you can do, and you know, this is like our spring or fall from what I'm used to. So
Exactly.
this is beautiful, and
we have
love
really
it.
brutal winters here.
Oh yes, it's been tough. It's been tough.
Going to the beach any weekends yet?
Oh yeah, we've made a couple of visits. We haven't really done the whole on the sand thing, but we've been up and down and just kind of out and enjoying the sunshine. We were just out last weekend in Jack's Beach, so.
That's wonderful. Well, we are happy to have you here and serving our local community so well. I want to brag on you for a second. You received, let's see here, the Bob Green Memorial Award for the highest combined written and oral-based score in the country. Can you tell us a little bit about your achievement with that?
Yeah, so as you said, so when we do our board certification, there's 3 steps. And the first step is a written exam, the second step is an oral examination, and they're completely separate, but still based on orthopedic knowledge. Mm-hmm. We get graded, and the combined best grade gets this award. And I was fortunate to win it the year that I went through. And I'm obviously very proud of it, but I think it's a result of my training. You know, we had great mentors, we had a lot of strong teachers. Also, a lot of the residents I went through the program with, they were just excellent, very, very strong academically, and we all helped each other along. And I think it's really a compliment to my program where I came from that we were able to not only win the year I went through, but one of my co-residents the year before me also won. So,
wow.
It was a great honor, and I'm very proud of it. And it was a lot of work to get there.
I'm sure it was. And to take #1, out of how many people were you competing against for this award?
I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
I think it's somewhere around 150 or 200 people.
Okay, so a good bit to take #1 spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the residents going through and graduating that year across the country, and it was certainly something I wasn't totally expecting. And when I got the news, I was pretty surprised and certainly flattered.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
We're
you.
really happy to bring those expertise now down here. And I know, too, you were an academic All-American on the wrestling team while attending Clarion University of Pennsylvania. How is the multitasking time-wise, being an athlete while having such a rigorous program?
Right, so that was something that I'm tremendously proud of. So wrestling, it taught me a lot of very important lessons.
Sure.
There's a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of juggling. When you're in college and you're in your late teens or early 20s, having all these things going on and still, keeping high grades and going through the brutal schedule of a wrestler. It's 6 months of the year of the competition and the weight cutting and everything that goes along with
Fireman's
it.
carry. I mean, I don't know how y'all do that while having such hard academics at the same time.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things. We had a great coaching staff at Clarion. We had a great wrestling program, and between the teammates supporting you and the coaches supporting you, it was something that I was able to compete for 5 years there. And then, I obviously had my academic success that's led to this.
Sure. And what's it like, kind of being on both sides of it? You were a collegiate athlete, and now you're taking care of athletes. What's that cycle like?
It's great, really. Whenever I was in college, I wasn't quite certain what I wanted to do, like most people in that point of life. I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian at one point, and then I switched over and I wanted to go into medicine, and I had arthroscopic surgery on my knee for an injury, and that led me to thinking, well, maybe I want to go into orthopedics once I went the route of medicine. And taking care of athletes is great because you know how they're wired. You know that they're training very hard and they're going through all these rigors and all these demands on them, and they come see you, and inevitably, especially at a college level or at a high level of any athletics, you're going to have injuries. So you try to get those taken care of, and you just kind of know what they're going through because you've been there. I've had the shoulder and the knee injuries and the back injuries myself. So,
is there a most common injury you come across in relation to sports?
Well, as it relates to what I do with the spine, typically it's the neck and the low back, because those are the mobile areas of your spine. So the cervical strains and sprains, the lumbar sprains and strains, typically that's the most common thing we're seeing is ligament or tendon injuries, just like the other major joints in our body. Sometimes we do see more significant injuries with disc tears or herniations and things of those nature, but typically in a young, healthy, strong athlete, athlete. It's going to be more of a connective tissue disorder that we're dealing with.
And can you enlighten me too a little bit about what spinal care treatment entails?
So it covers the gambit of a lot of things. So, when you consider what kind of things cause back pain or neck pain for that matter, it's, those connective tissues, the muscles, tendons, and ligaments, but you also have the joints and the disc, which is a specialized tissue to that part of our body. There's all kinds of treatment options that we tailor to the problem at hand. So anti-inflammatories, physical therapy, the stabilization and mobilization exercises, that's the mainstay of our conservative care. When you talk about older adults that have maybe more of a degenerative disorder or have more of an acute injury like a disc herniation, in those settings injections play a role for therapeutic and diagnostic purposes. And then ultimately as a surgeon we have surgical options for things that aren't responsive to more conservative care, whether it be discectomies, decompressions, or more involved things like fusions.
Okay, that is great information. I was not aware of all that myself. And I was gonna ask too, you stay really busy. You do a lot of volunteer work. How do you, make time for things such as volunteering at the Red Cross and the inner city youth? I think that's amazing how involved you are.
Yeah, and that's kind of a result of the things I got involved in along the way. So in college I was in athletics. In medical school, I got involved in several different organizations and clubs, and then going forward, being in medicine, and typically you're around people that you can get involved in these things, and it's just part of giving back. Typically these things, it's just giving your time, and it's giving back to the community, and it's something that I think it's important to do. Having philanthropy as part of your life, everybody does it in different ways, but thankfully I've had these outlets available to me to be able to do this from time to time along the way, and being in various areas, Philadelphia, in York, Pennsylvania, out in Denver, in the mountain areas, and now here, it's nice to whatever area you're in to have that outlet and be able to do that.
Absolutely, and I think it's amazing too that you make time for that on top of the fact that you are a new father.
Yep.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
Baby boy or baby girl?
Little boy,
boy.
Landon. He's almost 7 months old at this point. My wife and I have been married for nearly 10 years, and we've been blessed with our first child just recently, and he's just great. I love being a father. He's such a fun little boy, and he's at the point where he's flying all over the place, crawling and just exploring the world, and he's the best. But he's brought so much joy to my wife and my life. So. Well,
congratulations on baby Landon. And how has life changed now that you are in the father role, on top of all the other roles you play?
Right. It hasn't changed tremendously with regards to kind of the day-to-day. I think it's more just what my kind of outlook on life is. I've always been a very driven person, worked very hard for my goals, whether it be a wrestler, whether it be, in medical school and in residency getting good grades. But now my focus is taking care of my family and providing for him and for my wife, and being able to take care of this community and do my very best. But the reason why I work those late hours and work so hard is for that. So to come home and see the big smile on his face and get to just play with him and spend some time, that downtime is just so much more, it gives me so much more back, I feel like, and I just love it. I love being a father, and I love that when I go home I have my little boy to hang out with.
I'm sure he's the biggest inspiration and motivation there could be.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Dr. Perry. We really appreciate everything you do for the community and the service you provide at Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
Thank you very much.